two of my drones took damage once I launched the sentries.
How many people does the arch maximally?
So who did it all hit?
So we all got disconnected. This is gonna create so much fucking lag. This is.
Oh yeah.
All right. All right. This time I'm gonna be the only one firing. Okay. Let me add some people to watch list. If you're orbiting Tiber Galient, put an X in fleet chat so I can add you to watch list. Okay, yeah, no. That's stupid. Oh, they're already on there. That's why. I think I got everyone on there. Alright, Scimitar, can you rep up Pro Mathon, please? Can you please get closer, Sicknarf? Thanks. And guys, maintain your orbit if you're gonna orbit Tiber. Like, don't go too far away. Alright, let's try this again. I'll be the only one firing Thunderchild since it'll break the game otherwise. I mean, if it's causing that much lag now, how are they gonna fix it?
Imagine 100 people.
I mean, maybe it's some glitch that's easily fixed. I don't know if it might cause a lot of lag. Alright, let's see how this works. Let me switch to... I mean, we're always going to be using strike punch, so... Or strike snipe. I don't see why we wouldn't. Well, maybe try mesmer. What is the tracking on this thing? 262. Good God, that is not bad at all. How is this balanced? Like... How is this
It's not.
fucking balanced at all?
That's what the test server's for.
I thought it was using missile mechanics.
No,
It
it
is-
uses fighter mechanics. These are basically long range smart bombs using fighter mechanics. It is fucking absurd. All right, let's see how this works. So once again, if it randomizes, this is gonna be fucked. So Tiber, Timber, Sicknarf, Crassus, and a Hornet. It hits a drone.
Yeah.
Yep.
It hits
Yeah,
a
it hits drones.
fucking. So it's completely random then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was different.
Well,
Yeah,
it
two
hit
drones
bubbles.
It hit the same drone again, though.
It
Do
hit the same
anybody have a
drone
saber?
again. Interesting.
So bubbles have HP.
It hit 4 drones that time.
Yeah, you can smart bomb bubbles.
Yes, kill all of the EC300s.
Ooh, someone bring a saber.
Well, maybe that's a counter. Just put all your drones out and have them orbit you. Distracted at least a little bit.
Oh,
Like a lightning prod.
the one drone. Yeah, now it's not hitting. But yeah, you know, it's
Yeah,
the same
put your
drone.
drones out. Put all your drones out.
That initial drone you hit on that first strike has been hit every time you shot it. Same one.
Well, I gotta be hitting different drones now. I can't if I had been hitting that same one.
I'm watching its damage go down. It's fine.
Well,
It's
are
every
any
time
of
you
your
hit
other
it.
drones getting hit? Is anyone? Yeah, I just hit.
Oh,
an
now it's
Ultimate
just
Warrior
drones.
Valkyrie.
Yeah, you're just hitting drones now.
Guys,
That's a nice counter.
I countered these new ships at 30 seconds.
This drones for silk damage. Bring Vexers to the fleet.
God damn.
A-stars are useful again.
So yeah, you just put your drones out and have them orbit you. Boom. Easy.
Drone's actually tanking.
He's Spartan Warrior Tiber. Bounce.
So it's
So
basically
it seems
that
to be
movie.
pretty random. It seems to be
Yeah.
pretty random. So what we could do over a large enough fleet, but god damn it, man, like it's doing full damage from every gun. So they don't track that well if you're fast moving. So battleship tracking usually doesn't matter because you can put webs and target painters on your primary. But that's only one ship. Now, granted, it's never mattered before because you're only shooting one ship at a time. But with this fleet, you're hitting multiple ships. You can't target paint and web the ships that it's going to arc to because you don't know which ships it's going to arc to. And theoretically, it's going to randomly arc to all kinds of fucking different ships. So if this fleet is going to be primarying something, it can only apply full damage to the ship it's primarying, assuming they aren't just like some stationary high sig fleet like a battleship fleet. But it does so much DPS anyway. Like if I load Strike Snipe, I'm getting close to 200 DPS, which is enough to be a regular. Like our Apox and Megas do 200 DPS at 132 kilometers. Like it's a regular ship. Like it's doing well 173 at DPS at 138, but I haven't put any like Pyrolancy or anything in. What does Electro Punch do?
With T2, it does 314.
Yeah, well, I had Strike Snipe. Yeah, 318, but only at 38 kilometers. You'll never get a chance to use that. Um, I don't know. It may be. So you're doing full damage to one ship, and you're doing slightly less DPS than you want to, but the volley's really high. I mean, 8-second rate of fire with 178 DPS. So yeah, the volley's pretty fucking high. So it can score kills. It can absolutely score kills against the primary. Plus, you get all the arcing damage just for free.
So-
And they're one of the most. I mean, unless they adjust this tank, this is one of the most well-tanked ships in the game. Like, look at the because of the way they did the shield resistances. Look at the balanced shield resist profile. It gets so much base shield HP that it gets a high tank.
Can we
And
primary
this is
this?
with no links. This is 150k HP roughly with no links, which means it'll be like 220, 230 once it gets links. I don't
Can we
know,
kill
man.
this?
I mean,
Kill what?
the counter to it is Munions with rep bots, amusingly.
No. I mean, the counter to it is we're gonna have to do what we've done before when facing AOE damage. From like when the Citadel bomb was a problem, we're gonna have to divide our fleets up in the squads. We're gonna have Logi teams divided up in the squads. It's gonna be incredibly complex. We're gonna have to throw all our drones out so that most of the arcing damage goes to the drones. And then, so over in a large fleet fight situation, the arcing damage should be randomized enough, assuming that it works like we just saw, where it is completely random, that it will actually spread itself over the fleet, so that our Logi should be able to keep up their watch list. But then you also have to rep the primary because this thing's doing enough damage on its own just as a regular weapon, shooting the primary. So you have to tank the primary at the same time. You're going to have to bring extra Logi or work out, somehow teach pilots, well, so you could divide up the Logi in half, where half of them are watching watch lists and the other half are locking shield broadcast. Well, how the fuck do
Feel
you
the
keep
passive
people
shield
broadcasting
tank,
from reps? That's the
Yeah.
biggest fucking problem. How do you keep people from broadcasting for fucking reps when they're getting damage from this thing? Holy fuck.
Yeah, drone soak damage is the only thing we can really do.
Oh my god. How
It's
do
gonna
you
stress
do
Logi
that?
too
You're
much.
gonna have to train. I don't even know. Not even the best pilots and the best alliances are that disciplined. Oh
So-
my god.
Could the cruiser work for like anti-tackle? Because you can kill all their
The
small
cruiser
shit.
apparently arcs to even more stuff. This is the battleship. It only arcs to 5. The cruiser arcs to 10.
Cruiser's also tanky as heck. It's
You
got
can
like
you can use
have
the
100k EHP.
cruiser to
with
clear the grid, like small
skills for
tackle and
5.
bubbles.
Somehow you're going to have to train pilots to actually recognize yellow boxes properly and not broadcast unless they are yellow boxed by the enemy fleet or red boxed
Assuming
by
that
the
they're
entire
available.
enemy fleet.
It's gonna
Which
take
a
a
lot
while.
of good pilots can do, but fuck, I mean,
It's a lot of
I've
people.
seen even PL and NC dot spam broadcast for bomb damage, so like, I don't think anyone in the game is on that level yet.
That's too much discipline.
Well, I mean, it's gonna have to be done. It's we'll see.
Can
The
we test
tie-dye
it?
might be cancer as hell though with this thing.
Can we test if it pops like Victor bubble?
Don't bring a bubbler.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would.
I'll go grab a dictor.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah,
Those
might
are
as
hard to
well.
check.
We might as well. That's crazy though that you could just throw drones out and it'll mostly hit the drones.
Bombs though. If you bomb the drones off, then you're gonna go back to hitting ships.
Yeah. Then you're gonna have squads of bombers
That
trying to
means
kill
you
the
can't
drones.
To
afford
do
to run
much
the
to the
hold
drones.
the
Well,
battleship.
Think about it. You know, so the arc on this thing for the battleship, and I think the battleship's the only one worthwhile. I think the cruisers will just melt. cruisers without ADCs are asking.
It does have 6% per level shield resist.
I saw that, and I haven't. I looked at the fit though. The power grid, the way the power grid's set up, you can only put a couple shield extenders on it. So
Single
it
shield
R5
extender is what I have.
targets. So if you spread your fleet, and it's got a 10,000 meter arc range, so if you spread your fleet, like we used to do in like pancake formation or something, you could set it up to where there's only 5 or 6 ships in range of the arc, which actually just puts more damage on each one of those ships. It might not actually be a good thing. But if they all throw their drones out, then the Logi only got a hit. I mean, most of the ships outside the primary won't take that much damage. Most of the damage will go on the drones. The Logi will rep the primary, and then the other Logi will keep their I don't know.
You can pull off the anchor that Darkseid does, where they don't actually anchor, but they have everyone at range from the center.
Darkseid invented. That's just called not anchoring. But yeah.
Okay, they're all going in the same direction, but none of them are within 10 kilometers of each other.
I mean, that's what this thing's trying to do, but you can't do that though, because I mean, maybe you could do it with Eagles or some super long range fleet, but your numbers will be too low. Like you can only do that with a certain amount of numbers, and then if I bring 200 ships and just decide to constantly close the gap on you, you're going to be in trouble. I don't know. This is going to be really tough to deal with. Like the arcing damage won't do that much damage because the explosion radius, explosion velocity mechanics means that most of the damage will be mitigated if you're in anything that has decent sig tanking. I mean, it's going to punish people who anchor heavily, but that's not the end of the world. It's going to punish groups who don't know how to split their logistics up. And to watch lists, that's honestly not the end of the world. But it's also going to punish pilots who can't recognize when they're just taking, auxiliary damage or secondary damage. That when they're not the primary, they're just taking smart bomb damage or bomb damage or pot shots from 3 or 4 ships. Like if pilots who can't recognize when they're the primary by looking at the enemy fleet and seeing that they're red boxed by the entire enemy fleet won't know how to deal, they'll cause problems. Because you can't broadcast for Logi reps if you're getting the arc damage. You can only do it if you're the primary. God, that's going to be tough to train. It would be nice to train anyway. Like that's why I think it's going to be tough to train, because learning that skill was already valuable, yet almost nobody trains it. The good pilots know it, but that no alliance that I know of sits there and actively trains their pilots how to broadcast like to a high level, where they're recognizing the enemy they're recognizing that their target called right as they see the first string of yellow boxes coming in and broadcasting before. There are good pilots who could do it, and some alliances have more good pilots than others, but I don't know of any alliance that like has a program to train for that. And so unless you have every single pilot in the fleet able to recognize it, that's the problem with this. So like if I have 100 pilots in fleet and 80 of them are good pilots who recognize when they're being primaried and when they're not being primaried and have perfect broadcast discipline, but 20 of them are not. 20 of them are still relatively new. Then those 20 pilots are going to broadcast every time they take a decent amount of arc damage. And that's enough to clog up the Logi broadcast menu. So, yeah, it's...
As Logi Anchor, I will just turn off my broadcast settings and follow gun trails. Because there's no point in having your gun trail, in having broadcasts on. Like, everyone else can follow broadcasts. I'll just follow gun trails.
Well, it's 8-second rate of fire. It might be enough time.
Tons of people broadcast on Redbox anyways, and I can find gun trails, and the only issue will be that there's not a good way of pointing them out to anyone else. Like, there's no broadcast someone for reps unless we want to go over to some sort of weird tag system.
You just have to like call out names and hope people can find them.
But then you need 8 Logi that are that good, as opposed to...
We've tried tag systems before, and it can work, but it's just... I'm all for shaking up the way the game is played. But this I don't like new things being put in the game where everyone's all of a sudden required to use that fleet. Like if this becomes the best fleet in the game, and if you're not using one of the new fucking Edencom ships, you're putting yourself at such a disadvantage. Then everyone's got to fly Edencom, and then you're in the same kind of fucking problem that you were before. They're putting this in the game to try to shake things up, but if it's so overpowered that everybody has to use Edencom ships, you're not shaking anything up. You're just creating a new
Just moving
flavor
the
of the
meta.
month. Yeah, you're just moving the meta. So
Unless they hand out Thunderchild at the end of the event,
who's putting those
then I
vector probes out?
Could be limited run thing.
I
huh?
am.
All right, hold on.
Yeah,
Let
work.
me, you're right next to one. Yeah, let me see it.
Yeah, I'm right on top of one.
Yeah,
it
it doesn't
doesn't.
blow them up.
It doesn't work. I already tried
Well,
it.
that's good. At least I got that right.
That'd be kind of broken.
Well,
Just
it's already kind of broken.
Yeah.
the late saver bubbles upgrade. You'd be always safe.
the other answer to this is you just brawl them. Come in at 0 and tell them that their ships are
they'll
worth
just
a
spread
lot
out.
more than yours.
They'll spread out.
Then you're still right on top of your primary.
Not if they're spread out. Not if they're spread out in the 50-kilometer balls. So you could do that, and then you could cross the T on them later, but that's too much maneuvering.
Thunderchild versus Thunderchild fights are going to be really funny. Because you're going to be... Heck, it's going to be super high skill cap, isn't it?
And I would say
have
you
to-
could balance these things with price, but Nightmares are up to 850 million, and they're the best ship in the game right now, and people are using them like crazy.
In a sense, like for Bastion, it would be neat. It's like people that like to do the tethering game, second to detether will get hit by the thing. Like good sex, little tornadoes.
Ooh.
I wonder how these things. You can't use these things in fucking high sec.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just go fight in high sec.
Oh, that'd be deadly.
So if you
It
go
should be, but-
CP's green in high sec, will it not shoot random
It will
people?
not shoot. I don't think it'll shoot at all. It has to arc, no? Can't stop the arcing.
How far away from high sec? Let's run up there and test it.
You bubble wrap your ship and it's not gonna
I
arc
don't know.
anymore, or what?
Oh my god, gank people by shooting it blue, but it arcs over to someone else.
I think it still counts as like aggression.
All right, I think that's. I mean, I've seen everything I need to see, so it is what it is.